Well, good morning, everyone. I'm just going to talk to you about an error correction technique that we use here in Limerick City College, that I've used in other schools where I've worked as well, and we just find it to be a very effective way of analysing and addressing errors that our students make in the classroom. We call it food for thought, and I'm going to show you why over the course of this short presentation. Okay, so when it comes to planning a lesson, we are faced with many different choices and different factors that influence our choices. So, what sort of factors will help us decide what we're going to teach in a particular lesson? Obviously, the course book will play a part. The exam, if our students are studying towards a particular exam, and we might also have our students coming to us with specific requests as well, to teach more or less one particular thing. So when it comes to planning your lessons, we do have to make these decisions every day. What this food for thought error correction technique does is it allows you to use the language that the students actually use in the classroom to help you plan future lessons. Okay, so there are different schools of thought on error connection. Sometimes there's a danger that we can overcorrect, and there are of course risks attached with this. This could harm the students' confidence. There could be different personality types within the classroom. Some people are just much more susceptible to being corrected than others, and then other students might come and they might feel that their teacher doesn't correct enough, because of course with language teaching we need to have an element of free practice as well, which is the way the language is used in a natural way. But for some students, they might come from an education system where there is a much heavier emphasis on correcting their errors, and they might not be comfortable with such a free-flowing classroom environment. So really, it is important to strike a balance, and this food for thought lesson plan is one way of doing just that. Okay, so coming back to some of the arguments against correcting in class. So it can become tedious if we are having a lively debate or doing a lesson with a song, and the teacher or one of the other students is constantly correcting the student. It becomes boring, tedious, and it's not the way native speakers speak to each other either. Also, if we only have a 60-minute class, there could be time constraints. We have a syllabus to follow, so often if we're going to devote time to correcting errors in the class, errors that we hadn't envisaged coming up, this will eat into the limited time we have to cover our particular syllabus. Of course, it can also hamper fluency. It really depends on you as a teacher, your objectives for your students and your students' objectives. But if one of their objectives is fluency rather than accuracy, constant error correcting will inevitably damage this. And depending on the type of student, it can harm their confidence as well, constantly being corrected. As I mentioned before, if we just let them at it to make as many mistakes, it is only right that the students would complain that they never get corrected. This after all, is our role as facilitators and language teachers. We have a duty, in fact, to correct them if they're going wrong for all sorts of reasons. So some feedback on their errors is necessary. So what we can do is we take their mistakes, and we use their mistakes to develop a whole lesson based around them, using each of their mistakes as an opportunity to learn more. And this is where the little red book comes in. So, what I do anyway, if I am preparing one of these food for thought activities, is I have a small red notebook. I don't have it with me in here at the moment, but just as we are conducting a lesson, if a student makes an error, rather than correcting them on the spot, I'll just make a little note to remind myself either the whole sentence or the whole phrase, or it can even be maybe outside of class during the coffee break, perhaps when they are more relaxed and speaking with a higher degree of fluency. You'll also come across errors then in their written exercises as well. If you see an error that you think you could use in a future class, what we do is we compile a list of them and then use them as the basis for a future lesson. So of course, it can sometimes feel like eavesdropping. Maybe you're, especially if you make a note of an error that you're not going to address there and then. But as I will show you, there are benefits for this technique. So don't worry about anything like this. So the process. The teacher compiles a list of the mistakes that the students make. And again, the good thing about food for thought is we can address language errors, whether it's in grammar, vocabulary, use of English, like using collocations in the wrong way, pronunciation even. It is as wide open as the language itself, really. So once we have listed these errors, we get the students to work on this list of errors individually at first, and then they do some pair work, check if they came to the same conclusions about the corrections as their partner, and then the teacher does a whole class check, explaining the grammar or other language concepts around the errors. So this lesson it can take 15 to 20 minutes, or it could take up to 45 minutes, depending on the language that shows up in their errors. So I have one that we prepared earlier. In fact, this was just done on Thursday 2 days ago. So food for thought or language feedback, and unfortunately you can't see the writing there very clearly, but there's a whole range of mistakes. It will worth it. I agree, but not sure of it will working. So we can these mistakes were recorded over the course of 1 week from an intermediate class, and then the intermediate class analysed them together themselves. And I'll just go through some of the benefits. So some of the benefits of this form of error correction analysis: students analyse the language that they actually produce. So rather than following a course book which specifies that we're going to look at modal verbs this week, perfect tenses another week, if a student attempts to use a structure and they make an error in it, we can analyse it there and then, and the teacher can spend time developing an explanation to use in the food for thought class. There's plenty of variety within the lesson, because really the language that you're addressing and explaining in the lesson will be the language that the students produce themselves, or at least attempt to produce. So this has the advantage that it will be language language that a typical student of their level should be able to produce as well. It gives, especially for maybe newly qualified teachers who perhaps wouldn't have the years of experience and easy answers for difficult questions from which to draw on. It gives teachers time to prepare these explanations to accompany the task. So rather than trying to explain the reason why a certain language structure is the way it is, this can sometimes catch us off guard. At least with this method, by compiling the errors in advance, it gives you time to prepare the explanations, and that way the students will get a much more enriching lesson on the particular topic. And then what we can also do is we can also, depending on how often you do this exercise, whether you do it every week, it all depends on the particular course you're teaching on, the time that you're able to give to it. You can do an analysis of the frequently occurring errors. So you might find that there are some concepts that show up in errors week after week that will obviously need more remedial attention, and you can use it to plan future lessons accordingly. So, and of course, it is suitable for all levels. It can be used within a system of learning-oriented assessment. For me, in a nutshell, what learning-oriented assessment is all about is that the tasks and activities that the students do in the classroom influence the tasks and activities that they will be assessed on, but also will do in future lessons. So really the teacher's observations will add to what the students will study in their future lessons. So I first came across this particular technique last year. I was teaching on a business English language immersion programs in Brazil, where we used to do this technique every day. The students here were studying from 8 in the morning until 9 o'clock at night, so we were exposed to plenty of their language, so we were able to compile enough errors to analyse. But from the feedback we got from students on this course, they said that this was one of their, they found it to be their favourite and one of the most worthwhile activities for the reasons I gave you, because first of all, you're analysing the language that the students are actually using, the language that they actually need, rather than perhaps following a particular course book that hasn't taken into account their individual language needs. So I'd like to, at this stage, this is my email address anyway. If you'd like a copy of the presentation, or if you have any other questions, I'd be happy to get in touch with you. But I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I'll take any questions you might have as well.